everybody, and I am back with another book review. Finally, a book review. I'll be reviewing a book, finally, after all these years, after all this time. It's happening. Anywho, I shall be reviewing Dividing Eden by Joelle Charbonneau. I think that's how you pronounce her name, I'm not too sure, but if it isn't and I totally wrecked it, I'm so sorry. But anyways, yes, Dividing Eden. I will be discussing spoilers later, so obviously, if you haven't read this book, don't keep watching when I get to the spoilers and stuff. I found this book online when I was searching for my university textbook, and I needed free shipping, and I was like, well, you know what, I'll buy another book because I needed that free shipping, you know what I mean? So I looked at my list of books that I'd like to get. I think everyone has one. The stingy person that I am, all of these books on this site that I had on my list were just a little bit more expensive than they were on the other sites that I usually go to by like $1 and $2, but you know, I'm stingy, so I just looked up into like, I don't know, YA category, and I saw this and I really liked the cover, so I did buy this because of the cover. I did look up Goodreads just to see what the stars were, and it was like 4, so I was like, why not? It was pretty dang cheap for a hardcover. Hardcovers in Australia are really expensive, and it was like 20 something dollars, and I was like, yes, I need you. So what we can gather from the blurb is that it's going to be following two twins, yes, Karis and Andreas, who have to follow a path because they are now heir to the throne. That is like the basic summary of this book. Since they're twins, they don't know who's more in line to the throne, so they kind of have to do a set of trials to see who is more worthy of the crown. And the whole thing about it is that there is a prophecy of like, there's a dark path and a light path, and so, you know, the story kind of revolves around that, like which twin will take that road. But yeah, that's like the basics of it. Two twins, I keep saying that. Twins going head to head for the crown and seeing which one will take the dark path or the light path. And yeah, that's basically it. Now let's get right into it. To be perfectly honest, it took me a while to get into this book. Not because I was busy and doing other things, it was because I didn't like it. Just my opinion there, but I didn't really like the characters straight up. I didn't really get. There just was things that bugged me. Some of them I will be explaining in more detail later, but one of the things was that I couldn't picture anything in my head when reading this book. Like, there's windmills and they have power by a magical orb, so it's technically like electricity, like they have lights, but then it's like fantasy world. At one stage they're like in the throne room talking, and then on the second sentence they're walking along the battlements on the wall. Like, they obviously walked over there, but we didn't see the transition, so it's kind of like my brain's like, what are you doing? I just couldn't picture anything. It was so hard to picture people and the setting, and I would highly recommend, Joelle, if you ever watch this, you need a map. You need a goddamn map in this book. Sometimes you need maps to help you like picture things and kind of grasp, because, you know, if things are a bit confusing, I can look back on the map and go, okay, that's where they are. Like, I think there should be a map of the castle and then a map of like the entire land. So like I said, I can look at the map of the castle and be like, okay, that's how close things are, that's where they are. And then the map of the land can kind of tell me where the other kingdoms lay, because that's another thing. I don't know how close they are to this current kingdom of where the two main characters are. I don't know if it's like Attack on Titan, where there's like miles upon miles between the walls, but it's all surrounded by one big wall and there's many different sections inside. I don't know if this is like that and there's just a huge wall wrapped around and there's like the kingdoms are inside there. Does that make sense? Like, this It needs a map. It needs a map because it would help me a lot. And then the other thing that annoyed me were the characters. I didn't really like Karis in the beginning, who is the girl, by the way. The princess, the twin. The other twin is Andreas. Didn't really like him for reasons. Didn't really like both of them. I like Karis a lot more than I do Andreas. I did like her towards the end and a bit in the middle. Andreas was just... He's also apparently in this world a playboy. He has gotten with all of the ladies in the castle. And he's 17. I don't mind the 17 age. But then sometimes when you have a character who's supposed to be like, you know, gets around and all of that, it's just weird because you can't see it. Because you're like, all of the other women are a lot older than him, which, I mean, whatever, you do you, but, you know, it was just kind of like, I wish they were a bit older, or like, they were turning 18, but in the books, they had just turned 17. I just kind of want characters in books who are just kind of my age or near my age. That'd be nice, just saying. Another thing that I didn't mention is that each chapter is a different perspective. Like, say chapter 1, it's Karis. Chapter 2, it's Andreas. And in the beginning, it was like parallel. If you're following, for example, Karis's perspective, and she's like on the other side of the castle doing something, and then someone gets murdered on the other side. I'm not saying that happens, I'm just giving an example. And then when you read Andreas's like version, it is the exact same time as what Karis is doing, but he's somewhere else. And then the murder happens at the end as well, and you're like, okay, so that's what he was doing, you know? Like, that kind of happens throughout it. Towards the end, when they go to the trials, however, that's stopped. You don't see the parallel between them. So, for example, if you're in Andreas's perspective and Karis is doing something that is a bit out of character and a bit weird, and he's thinking about it, you're not gonna know, because when it gets to her, it's gonna be like when she's left that scene. You're not gonna see what she was doing and what her motives were at all, and they never go back onto it. Like, there was a lot of times when I was in Andreas's perspective wanting to be in Karis's perspective. There was a lot of scenes that should have been switched. Like, I would have liked to have learned more about what Karis was doing in certain situations than what Andreas was. So, you know, that was the thing. This is something that I liked. I know I've bloody dragged this book through hell. The thing about this book is that it's a bit ambiguous. The blurb tells us there's two paths, a dark and a light. You kind of have to pick which twin it is. But the thing is, when you find out information about one twin, you get information about another. So you're kind of like, well, which one is it? Who is the dark one? Who is the light one? Kind of makes you like think until the end who it is, whose path we're following down, whose path we're not, you know? I'm going to focus more on the twins in my actual spoiler discussion, which I'll get to soon because I don't want to spoil anything. But obviously, going back into more like why I like this book, I did start liking it towards the end. Not gonna lie, I did. Start rooting for a Pacific twin against the trials because they are heading against each other, which is another thing. Like, these twins are very, very close, and now they're put against each other, and then you kind of, this is what the book explores, like how quickly some can turn against each other, or like things like that come around, so it's quite interesting to explore. The end did make me, like, I do want to know what's going to happen in the second book. I do think the second book will be way better than this one, because this is really more of an opening to the world. I can really see it. When the second one comes out, this will, and I see it as it is now, as just a really good opening to the world. Because it is. It explains everything, somewhat. It needs a map though. But with the second book, that's I think coming out next year, this is a very good opener for the series. I'm not saying this is going to happen from what happens in the end. This is not a spoiler, this is more of a what I think will happen. I hope the next book takes place a year after the events of this one. just because I think that'd be way more interesting. Like, I don't really want this book to, like, I don't want the second book to pick up straight after the end of this book. I'd really like the second book to pick up like a year later or a few months at least, just because what happens at the end of this, my reasons would make sense when you finish it, basically. I did like at the end. I do want to read more. So yeah, my last thoughts are, you need a map. As I've said again, a map of the castle and then a map of the entire land so I can picture it, because it's just so hard picturing it. But all in all, it was okay. I'm gonna give it a 3.9 out of 5 if I have to rate it, because it did take me ages to actually get into it and really like the characters or character. So yeah, but I'm gonna stop now. If you haven't read this book, go away, because I'm going to go into spoilers right now. So let's get into it. Going back onto what I said about the twins. Yeah, they're very close in the beginning. They're very close. When they hear that they have to perform trials and go head to head against each other, they kind of agree. They mutually agree, as in Karis and Andreas agree, secretly, that Andreas will be the king. Karis will, like, knowingly fake her trials and do bad in them, like pretend she's like, ooh, I can't do anything, because Karis is your stereotypical badass female warrior girl who knows how to throw knives, who knows how to fight, is way better than her brother, and all that jazz. But I do like her. She's good. She grew on me. She grew on me. Andreas is the opposite. He's more into the history and the law. He's got a weak heart. He has a weak heart. That's the curse. So that's what I meant about how you don't really know which one is the dark or light path, because he's got a curse on him. A curse. He's got a weak heart. He has spasm attacks. He has to take stuff for it. Which, I'm going to go back into the twins, but, so, this is what annoyed me a lot about this book. And I couldn't say it in the review before, because this is a huge spoiler, obviously, but the thing that annoyed me was that, for some strange reason, when they were born, the seer, because they have a seer, they have a royal seer, seers look into the stars, have prophecies and stuff like that. When they were born, the seer was like, one of your children will be like cursed, hoo hoo hoo, and the mum's like, oh my god, really? So she kills the midwife because she knew which twin came out first. We don't know which one came out first, so who knows. That's why they have to do the trials, because they don't know which one came first. They're equal. So she has her killed, because she also heard the prophecy as well. The seer dies. I think the queen killed him. I don't know if it's ever mentioned in the books, but I think that's what happens. And so obviously, it's made known that Andreas has a heart condition. I think it's a heart condition. It could be a magical ailment, but I do think it's a heart condition, and they just say it's something because obviously it's a fantasy book. They don't have medicine and magical science, So, what does the queen ask her young daughter to do, who's a princess? You gotta save your brother. So she, throughout her young little life, has been mucking up, messing up, doing bad things, so the attention would be off her brother and on her when he was having a fit. Sounds nice, right? Well, then the king decides, you know what? To make you learn the error of your ways, you are to be whipped. So this girl has been whipped a fair lot. She's very used to it. She's got scars all on her back now. She's just been recently whipped because Andreas has a fit. She has to go crazy, run amok, and she gets whipped. That's when her father and brother died, because her brother died too. I didn't put that in there, because because I didn't want to spoil just a little bit. But the brother dies too, just saying. So yeah, she gets whipped because she makes a big fuss about she doesn't understand why her brother and her father were killed when they were surrounded by an army of guards. So she gets whipped because she spoke out of line, and the queen's like, yeah, send her off to the tower. And I'm like, righto. And because of the whipping, to ease the pain, she's been taking this, like, drug that her mum's been giving her, that she's now become addicted to, that she has to take a sip of it every day, otherwise she'll, like, go into a huge relapse and go really, really weird. So yeah, so basically, she has been helping her brother for a very, very long time. They're very close. The minute that the trials begin, and she purposely loses one of the first trial, the brother starts getting suspicious. He's like, oh, what are you doing? Like, how dare you? Like, are you making a fool of yourself? And she's like, I'm just trying to help you. Like, you want the crown. I'm trying to lose purposely. But because she's losing purposely, and she's actually doing things to make her liked by accident, like, she doesn't realise, like, people are actually watching her, because in the first one, it's an archery. It could be the second one. I think it's the second trial. They have to do archery. She's a very good archer, but she's not hitting the bullseye, even though she can. Instead, she's aiming for specific things, but then people are watching what she's actually hitting. For example, she aims at a flower, she hits at the flower straight through it. You know what I mean? And so people are actually seeing that and going, oh, she's actually really good. I like her spunk. You know, so she's getting votes. And the brother's like, oh, how dare you? He gets so suspicious of her so quickly. It annoys me. He gets so suspicious of her. He's like, girl, one of his thoughts, one of his reasons was that she glanced at the crown. She glanced at the throne. I think she wants it. I think she wants to be queen. I must go against her. With the help of his evil little sidekick, the new seer, who is in love with Andreas. She's like your stereotypical whisper bad things into the ear to make them believe. That's what she is. She's basically a worm in the ear. She's annoying. She dies, so it got better after she died, because she was just annoying. She was like this stereotypical, like, your sister's gonna be, like, she's gonna tear us apart. She's, like, doing all these evil things. We gotta stop her. And he's immediately like, oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we gotta stop her, because he's in love with her. She says she's in love with him. Turns out she's lying, though. She doesn't give a damn. She's got other reasons to be there. But she dies, so you never find out what those were. Like, we don't know what her plan was, because she dies. She dies before anything happens, so that's nice. But yeah, Andreas gets so suspicious of Karis really easy, and so he decides to steal all of her bottles, like the drug that she has to take. So, and he steals them, and he gets rid of them. And then his reason is, well, it's her fault. She shouldn't have become addicted to them anyways. Bruh, she's become addicted to them because of you. Like, you're the reason why? Like, she gets whipped because of you, you idiot? Like, shut up. But as well, it also turns out that Karis actually has to take the drugs for another reason, but still, she's got weird wind powers. She can control the wind, apparently. That happens in the end. My discussion here is basically spoiling everything that happens in this book. I told you it's spoilers, I'm sorry. If you haven't read it, sorry. But still, Andreas, shut up. I just could not stand him. I was like, you know what? Stuff you, Andreas. Karis, go all the way. I hope you win. But yes, I could explain and go on for ages. I'm sorry this wasn't a cohesive discussion. Well, actually, it was a discussion. I'm not reviewing the book. I'm just kind of talking about my thoughts at the end. So that's what it is. This is my thoughts. These are just my thoughts of the book that have spoilers in them. I do want to read the second one. This book gave me trouble. Yeah, the characters are just annoying. I did like Karis, but everyone else was just fuzz to me. they'll just fuzz. Hopefully there's more in the next one. Hopefully there's a map in the next one. Again, if you want to read it, it is Dividing Eden by Joelle Charbonneau. I think that's how you pronounce the name. If you like this book, honestly, that's okay. Like, I didn't mind it. I just hated the beginning, and I hated most of it. I didn't hate it. Hate's a strong word. It's just annoying. But I got into it. But yes. This is just my opinion. But yeah, if you want to read it, go ahead. Pick it up in the library if you don't feel like spending money on it. Read it. See what you think. Get an ebook. I don't know. And if you have read it, please let me know in the comments of what you thought of this book, because did Goodreads lie to me? Were there actually 4.5 stars? Because I don't know. I don't like giving bad reviews, but this book just really annoyed me, and I feel like a lot of people have read it and have liked it, so I don't know. So that is it for today, and yes, I have a Yuri t-shirt. It's a fabulous shirt. But anyways, that is it for today, and I shall see you again hopefully soon. And yes, goodbye.